Have you ever wanted something so badly, worked so hard for it, and then watched it fall apart right before your eyes? Maybe you lost a job, a relationship ended, or a dream got blocked. In that moment, it feels like the world is against you. But what if I told you that the blockage wasn't a failure, but a rescue? Let me tell you the story of a young man named Rocky. Once, in a bustling village near the great mountains, lived a young, ambitious traveler named Rocky. Rocky was not rich, but he had a dream. He wanted to cross the dangerous Valley of Mist to reach the Golden City, where he could trade his goods and change his family's life forever. Rocky had prepared for years. He had the strength, he had the supplies, and, most importantly, he had his grandfather's silver compass. It was the only compass that could navigate the thick fog of the valley. Without it, you would be lost forever. On the morning of his departure, Rocky woke up with excitement. But as he packed his bag, his heart stopped. The silver compass was gone. He tore his room apart. He looked under the bed, in the drawers, in the garden. It was nowhere. Rocky panicked. "How can I go without the compass? This is a disaster!" His neighbors whispered, "Poor Rocky, this is a sign of bad luck. You should not go." But Rocky was stubborn. He refused to give up. "I don't need luck," he said. "I will follow the trail of the other merchants. I will leave tomorrow." But life had other plans. The very next morning, as Rocky was loading his wagon, a heavy wooden crate slipped from his grip and crushed his foot. The pain was blinding. His ankle swelled up instantly. He couldn't walk, let alone hike across a mountain. Now, Rocky wasn't just disappointed. He was angry. He screamed at the sky. "Why? First my compass, now my foot! Why is the universe punishing me? I have worked so hard! This is unfair!" Rocky spent the next week in bed, staring at the ceiling, bitter and heartbroken. He watched from his window as the other merchants left the village, marching toward the Golden City without him. He felt like a failure. 10 days passed. Rocky's foot was slowly healing, though his heart was still sore. Suddenly, a lone survivor stumbled back into the village. He was covered in dust and shaking with fear. The village gathered around him. "What happened?" they asked. "Where are the others?" The survivor caught his breath and said, "The Valley of Mist. It wasn't just fog. There were bandits hiding in the cliffs. Because the fog was so thick, we didn't see them until it was too late. They took everything. They took the wagons, the goods, and anyone who tried to fight back." The survivor looked at Rocky. "They were waiting specifically for the first group to cross. If you had been with us, you would have lost everything." Rocky stood frozen. He realized that if he hadn't lost his compass, he would have been in that valley. He realized that if he hadn't crushed his foot, he would have been walking right into a trap. Later that afternoon, while cleaning his room, Rocky moved an old rug. There, shining in the dust, was his silver compass. It hadn't been lost. It had just slid out of sight. Rocky picked it up and smiled, tears filling his eyes. He whispered to himself, "My lost compass kept me from leaving too soon. My broken foot kept me from walking into danger." Rocky waited until the bandits were caught and the valley was safe. He eventually made his journey to the Golden City, not on his timeline, but on the right timeline. he learned a lesson that he shared with everyone he met. Rejection is merely redirection. The takeaway for you. My friends, life is not a straight line. Sometimes you miss the bus. Sometimes you don't get the job. Sometimes a relationship ends. We call this bad luck. We call it failure. But you cannot see the full picture. Maybe that job you lost would have made you miserable. Maybe that relationship ended to make space for the right person. Maybe that delay is keeping you safe from a storm you cannot see. So, when things go wrong, when doors close in your face, take a deep breath. Don't say, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead, say, "Thank you for the protection." Trust the timing of your life. What seems like a detour is actually the path to your destiny. If this story reminded you that there is a purpose behind your pain, I want you to do one thing. Share this with someone who is going through a hard time right now. And tell me in the comments, "I trust the process." Let's keep believing together.